"No one wants to date me," she whispered, then revealed a truth that would change everything. What started as a business arrangement between a lonely crime lord and a scarred woman became something neither expected. But when violence collides with vulnerability and past wounds resurface, can two broken souls survive the darkness together? If you're new here, subscribe and comment your location. Now let's begin. Lucas knocked on the heavy mahogany door 3 times. He knew better than to barge in. Inside the penthouse office, Damian Cross sat behind his desk, staring at financial reports that meant nothing to him right now. Numbers, always numbers. Money came easy, everything else, not so much. "Boss, we need to talk," Lucas said, stepping inside. Damian looked up. His right-hand man had that expression, the one that meant he was about to say something Damian wouldn't like. "What is it?" Lucas closed the door behind him. "You're lonely." Damian's jaw tightened. "Get out." "No," Lucas walked forward and dropped a folder on the desk. "I've known you 15 years. You rule this entire city. You have money, power, respect. But you go home every night to an empty penthouse and you hate it. I can see it on your face." "I said get out." Her name is Elara Vance, 28, works as a freelance graphic designer, lives in the East District. Lucas tapped the folder. "And her brother Toby owes us $200,000. Damian's eyes narrowed. "So this is business?" "No, this is me helping you. The debt is separate. I'm setting up a dinner tomorrow night. Rossi's, 8 o'clock, you're going." "I don't take orders from you." Lucas smiled slightly. "Then consider it a strong suggestion from someone who cares if you die alone in this cold apartment." Damian wanted to argue. He wanted to throw Lucas out, but the truth was sharp and it cut deep. The penthouse was cold. Every night he came home to silence. He ruled the streets but couldn't control the emptiness inside his chest. "Fine, one dinner, that's it." Lucas nodded. "That's all I'm asking." The next evening, Damian arrived at Rossi's exactly at 8. The restaurant was one of the finest in the city. He owned a stake in it, naturally. The hostess recognized him immediately and led him to a private corner table. Elara was already sitting there. She looked uncomfortable. Her dark hair was pulled back tight. She wore a simple black blouse with long sleeves despite the warm evening. Her eyes were guarded, defensive, like she'd rather be anywhere else. Damian sat down across from her. "So," Elara said before he could speak, "which part do you want to hear first? The part where my brother is an idiot who gambles money he doesn't have? Or the part where I'm here because someone told me if I had dinner with you, maybe you'd be nice about collecting?" Straight to the point. Damian appreciated that. "I didn't know about your brother's debt until yesterday," Damian said honestly. "Lucas set this up. He thinks I need to get out more." Elara blinked. "So this isn't about the money?" "I didn't say that." Damian leaned back. "But let's put that aside for now. Tell me about yourself." "Why, you're a mobster. I'm nobody. This is weird." "It is weird," Damian agreed. "But we're here, might as well eat. The food is excellent." They ordered. Elara barely touched her pasta. She kept looking at the door like she wanted to run. Damian tried to make conversation, but she gave short answers. Yes, no, maybe, nothing real. Finally, halfway through the meal, Elara put down her fork. "Look, I appreciate whatever this is, but let's be honest. No one wants to date me. I know how this works. You're going to ask questions, we'll talk, then you'll see the real me and you'll leave. So let's just skip to that part." "What are you talking about?" Elara stood up suddenly. She grabbed the sleeve of her left arm and rolled it up past her elbow. The scars were thick, twisted, burned scars that wrapped around her forearm like melted wax. The skin was discolored, rough, the kind of injury that came from serious fire. "This is what I'm talking about," Elara said. Her voice shook. "I was in a fire when I was 16. My entire left side looks like this. So now you know, you can leave, everyone else does." Damian stared at the scars, not with disgust, not with pity. He simply looked at them. Then he reached across the table and gently took her wrist. He pulled her sleeve back down, covering the scars carefully. "I'm not going anywhere," he said quietly. Elara's eyes filled with tears. "What?" "I said I'm not going anywhere. Sit down, finish your dinner." "But..." "Sit down." She sat, the tears spilled over, and she wiped them away quickly. Damian pulled out his phone and sent a text to Lucas. 4 words: "Cancel Toby's debt. Now." Lucas replied immediately, "Done." Damian put the phone away. "Your brother's debt is gone. This dinner has nothing to do with that. I want to see you again, next week, same time, but somewhere more casual, your choice." Elara stared at him like he was speaking another language. "Why would you do that?" "Because I want to." "You don't even know me." "Then let me get to know you." She was silent for a long moment. Then, so quietly he almost didn't hear it, she said, "Okay." Over the next few weeks, they met regularly, not at fancy restaurants. Elara chose small coffee shops in neighborhoods Damian had never bothered visiting, quiet places where no one knew his name. They walked through parks. They talked about simple things: movies, music, her design work, his legitimate business fronts. She never asked about his real work. He didn't volunteer it. One rainy afternoon, about a month in, Damian picked her up in a regular sedan. Not the bulletproof SUV he usually traveled in. Not the town car with tinted windows. "Where are we going?" Elara asked. "My place." She tensed. "Your penthouse." "No, my real place." He drove to a quiet neighborhood in the South End. The building was old but well-maintained. He led her up 3 flights of stairs to a small apartment. 2 bedrooms, modest furniture, a kitchen that actually looked used. "You live here?" Elara asked, surprised. "Sometimes, when I need to remember who I am." Damian moved to the kitchen. "I'm going to cook for you. Sit." She sat at the small table and watched him work. He made pasta from scratch, real pasta. She was shocked. "My mother taught me," Damian said as he rolled out the dough, "before she left." "She left?" Damian nodded. He didn't look at her. "I was 9. She walked out one morning and never came back. Her name was Sylvia. She said she couldn't handle the life anymore. My father was already deep in the business. She wanted out, so she left, didn't take me, didn't say goodbye, just gone." Elara's expression softened. "Damian, I'm so sorry. It's old pain, like your scars. It doesn't go away, but you learn to live with it." They ate together in comfortable silence. Afterwards, Elara helped him clean up. She rolled up her sleeves without thinking. The scars were visible. She caught Damian looking. "The fire happened at my school," she said quietly. "Chemistry lab. An experiment went wrong. I was standing too close. My entire left arm, part of my shoulder, my ribs. I spent 6 months in the hospital, 23 surgeries. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive." "You are strong," Damian said. "I don't feel strong. I feel broken. People stare. They whisper. Dates end early. No one wants to touch me." Damian stepped closer. He took her scarred hand in his. "I want to touch you, not despite the scars, just you, all of you." She looked up at him with wide eyes. Then she kissed him, soft, tentative. He kissed her back, gentle, patient, like they had all the time in the world. But they didn't. 2 weeks later, Damian invited Elara to his penthouse. The real one, the one that screamed wealth and power. She walked through the massive space with wide eyes. "This is where you actually live?" she asked. "Most nights, yes." She touched the expensive furniture, looked at the city view through floor-to-ceiling windows. "It's beautiful and empty." "I know." They had dinner on the terrace. The city lights sparkled below them. For a few hours, everything felt perfect, normal, like maybe 2 people from completely different worlds could actually make this work. Then the door burst open. Lucas stumbled in, half carrying a man covered in blood, one of Damian's enforcers, Mark. He'd been shot twice in the chest. "Boss, we need help now," Lucas shouted. Damian's entire demeanor changed. The soft man who cooked pasta vanished. In his place stood the crime lord. cold, calculating, dangerous. Get him on the table, now. Damian's voice was ice. Elara stood frozen on the terrace. Lucas and two other men dragged Mark to the dining table. Blood spilled everywhere. Mark was gasping, dying. Elara's instincts took over. She ran inside. Move, let me see him. Who the hell is she? One of the men asked. Move, Elara pushed past them. She pressed her hands against the wounds. I need towels, clean ones, and a first aid kit if you have it. Now. Lucas ran to get supplies. Elara worked fast. Her hands were steady. She'd taken emergency medical training after the fire. She knew trauma. She knew pain. She packed the wounds, applied pressure, talked Mark through it. Stay with me, keep breathing. You're going to be okay. 20 minutes later, the bleeding was under control. Damian had called a doctor. He kept on peril. The man arrived and took over. Mark would survive. Elara stepped back. Her hands were covered in blood. She was shaking. Damian approached her carefully. Are you okay? She looked at him, really looked at him, at the cold expression on his face, at the gun now visible under his jacket, at Lucas and the other men who treated violence like it was normal. What do you do? She whispered. You know what I do. Say it. Damian's jaw tightened. I run the Cross Syndicate. I control territory. I enforce rules. I protect my people and I eliminate threats. Do you kill? Silence. Answer me, Damian. Do you kill people? Yes. The word hung in the air like a knife. Elara took a step back, then another. I need to leave. Elara. I need to leave right now. Damian didn't try to stop her. He watched her grab her bag and walk out. The door closed quietly, not a slam, somehow that was worse. Lucas approached. Boss. Leave me alone. What do you want us to do about Volkov's crew? They're the ones who shot Mark. I don't care, handle it. I don't want to hear about it. Damian walked to the terrace and stared at the city, the empire he'd built, the power he'd earned. All of it felt hollow, empty, cold. She was gone, and he had no idea how to fix it. Days passed. Damian didn't call, didn't text. He wanted to give her space, but every night he stared at his phone, hopping, waiting. A week later, Lucas entered his office. Boss, I have something. What? There's a charity gala next month for burn victims, medical research, hospital funding. I think you should sponsor it. Why? Lucas gave him a look. Because Elara would care about that, and maybe if you show her you understand her world, she'll give you another chance. Damian considered it, then nodded. Do it. Sponsor the whole thing. I want it perfect. The invitations went out. Damian made sure Elara received one, personal delivery, no pressure, just an invitation. He didn't know if she'd come. The night of the gala, Damian stood in his tuxedo, greeting guests and writing checks for the foundation. He smiled for cameras, shook hands with politicians and donors, but his eyes kept scanning the crowd. Then he saw her. Elara stood at the entrance in a red dress, sleeveless. The scars on her left arm were completely visible. She wasn't hiding. She walked into that room of wealthy elites and held her head high. Damian's heart stopped. She saw him across the room. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Damian walked toward her. The crowd parted. You came, he said. You sponsored this whole thing. Yes. Why? Because it matters to you, so it matters to me. Elara's eyes searched his face. Damian, I'm scared. Your world is violent. People get hurt. I watched that man almost die on your table. I can't. Dance with me. What? Damian offered his hand. One dance, please. She hesitated. Then she placed her scarred hand in his. He led her to the center of the floor. The music was soft, classical. He held her close, not too tight, just enough. Everyone was watching, staring at her scars, whispering. Damian felt her tense. Look at me, he said quietly. Not them, just me. She met his eyes. I see you, Damian said. Not the scars, not the fear, you and you're beautiful. A tear slipped down her cheek. You're impossible. I know. They danced through the entire song. When it ended, the room applauded. Not mocking, genuine, respectful. Elara smiled, really smiled, for the first time in weeks. But outside the gala, in the parking garage, danger waited. Sylvia Cross watched from across the ballroom. She'd slipped in through a side entrance, using an old connection to bypass security. She looked older now, harder. 15 years of bad choices had carved lines into her face that no amount of makeup could hide. She saw her son dancing with that scarred girl, saw the way he looked at her, like she mattered, like she was worth something. Sylvia felt rage burn in her chest. She'd left Damian when he was 9 because she couldn't handle the violence, the danger, the blood. But she'd come back now because she needed money. She'd burned through everything, every relationship, every opportunity. And now her son was a king and she had nothing. She'd approached him last week, showed up at his office, asked for money, a lot of money. He'd looked at her with those cold eyes and said one word, no. Then he'd had security throw her out. If she couldn't get money from him, she'd destroy what he cared about instead. And clearly, he cared about this girl. Sylvia waited until the gala ended. She followed Elara to the parking garage. Elara was alone, walking to her car, still wearing that red dress. Elara Vance, Sylvia called out. Elara turned. Yes, can I help you? Sylvia smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. I'm Sylvia, Damian's mother. Elara's expression changed, guarded now. He told me about you. Did he tell you that he only likes broken things? That's his pattern, sweetheart. He finds damaged people because they make him feel needed. They make him feel powerful. That's not true. Isn't it? Look at yourself. You're scarred, insecure. You probably think no one else would want you, right? So when a rich, powerful man says he does, you believe it. You're grateful. Elara's hands clenched. You don't know anything about us. I know my son. I know how he works. He'll keep you around until you're not broken anymore, until you're healed, fixed, boring. Then he'll move on to the next damaged soul who needs saving. That's who he is. You're wrong. Sylvia stepped closer. Am I, or are you just terrified that I'm right? What happens when you're not interesting anymore? When your trauma isn't fresh? When you're just a regular woman? Do you really think a man like Damian will stay? Elara's eyes filled with tears. The words hit every insecurity she'd ever had, every fear she'd carried since the fire. Stay away from me, Elara whispered. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to save you from getting hurt worse than those scars ever could. Walk away now while you still can. Sylvia left her standing there, shaking, crying, doubting everything. The next morning, Toby disappeared. Elara got the call at 6, a distorted voice, mechanical, cold. We have your brother. Come to the old docks on Harbour Street, Pier 19. Come alone. Tell anyone, especially Damian Cross, and Toby dies. You have 2 hours. The line went dead. Elara's hands shook so badly she dropped the phone. Terror crashed through her. Toby was stupid, reckless, irresponsible, but he was her brother, her only family. She couldn't let him die. She thought about calling Damian, but the voice had been clear. Come alone. If she brought Damian, if she brought his men, there would be a war, a gang war. People would die. Maybe Toby would die. She couldn't risk it. Elara grabbed her keys and drove to the docks. The area was abandoned. Old warehouses lined the waterfront. Pier 19 was at the far end, isolated, perfect for something terrible. She parked and walked onto the pier. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The morning fog rolled in thick. She could barely see 10 feet ahead. Hello, she called out. A figure emerged from the fog. A man, tall, heavy build, Russian accent when he spoke. Elara Vance, so nice of you to come. Where's my brother? The man smiled. Safe, for now. My name is Viktor Volkov. I run operations on the east side. Your boyfriend has been cutting into my territory. I wanted to send him a message. I'm not his girlfriend, we are just. Don't lie, I've been watching. Damian Cross doesn't sponsor charity galas for just anyone. He doesn't dance in public. He's in love with you, which makes you valuable. Two more men appeared. They were holding Toby between them. He was bruised, bloody, terrified. Elara, I'm sorry, Toby sobbed. I'm so sorry. Let him go, Elara said. Please, he's got nothing to do with your business. True, but you do. Victor pulled out a phone and took pictures of her, of Toby, of the situation. I'm going to send these to Cross. Let him know we have his woman. Let him know that his empire isn't as strong as he thinks. No, please. Too late. Victor sent the photos. Then he made a call, put it on speaker. It rang twice, then Damian's voice came through, sharp, alert. Who is this? Victor Volkov, I believe I have something of yours. There was a pause, then Damian's voice turned to ice. If you hurt her, I will burn your entire organization to the ground. Big words, but you're not in position to threaten me. I have the girl and the brother. You want them back? Meet me at Pier 19, 1 hour, come alone, we'll talk terms. I'm already on my way. The line went dead. Victor smiled, and now we wait. Elara looked at Toby. He was crying. She wanted to tell him it would be okay, but she didn't know if that was true. 45 minutes later, headlights cut through the fog. Not one vehicle, 6. Black SUVs rolled onto the pier in a line. They stopped 20 feet away. Damian stepped out of the lead vehicle. He was alone, but Elara could see shapes moving in the other cars. Shadows, men with weapons. I said come alone, Victor called out. I came, their insurance, let them go. Not yet, first, we negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate, name your price. Victor laughed. You think this is about money? This is about respect. You've been pushing into my territory, taking my business, making me look weak. Then we'll discuss territory lines, draw new boundaries, but let them go first. No, the girl and the brother stay until we have an agreement. Damian's jaw tightened. Elara could see him calculating, planning. His eyes met hers across the distance. She saw something in them, not anger, fear. He was afraid for her. Victor, Damian said carefully, you're right. I pushed too hard into your territory. That was disrespectful. I apologize. We can fix this. But if you hurt her, there's no deal. There's only war, and you'll lose. Will I? You're outnumbered here. Look again. Red laser dots appeared on Victor's chest, on the chests of his men. Snipers, hidden in the warehouses, on the rooftops, positioned perfectly. Victor's confidence cracked. You bastard. Let them go, now, or my men open fire. They shoot, you lose the girl. No, you lose everything, because the second a shot is fired, you die first, and you know it. The standoff lasted an eternity, 10 seconds that felt like 10 hours. Finally, Victor gestured. His men released Toby. He stumbled forward, running to Elara. Now the girl, Damian said. Not until you call off your snipers. You're not in a position to negotiate. Victor grabbed Elara's arm, yanked her close, put a gun to her head. Everything stopped. Damian went very still. Don't. Call them off. I can't do that, you know I can't. Elara felt the cold metal against her temple. She thought about the fire, about the pain, about every moment she'd survived just to end up here. She thought about Damian, about the way he'd looked at her scars and said he wasn't going anywhere. She whispered, it's okay. It's not okay, Damian said. His voice broke. Elara, it's not okay. I trust you. Those 3 words changed everything. Damian's expression hardened. He raised his hand, made a gesture. The shots came so fast Victor didn't have time to react. The gun flew from his hand. His shoulder exploded in blood. He dropped to the ground screaming. His men fell next. Non-lethal shots, precise, professional. Damian ran. He reached Elara in seconds, pulled her away from Victor, checked her for injuries. Are you hurt? Did he hurt you? I'm okay, I'm okay. Damian held her face in his hands. You came alone, you didn't call me, you could have died. He said he'd killed Toby if I told you. So you risked yourself, you walked into a trap. He's my brother, what was I supposed to do? Damian pulled her into his chest, held her tight. You were supposed to trust me, you were supposed to let me protect you. I did trust you, in the end, I trusted you. Behind them, Lucas and the team secured Victor and his men, zip ties, guns collected, wounds treated enough to keep them alive for questioning. Toby sat on the ground, shaking. Damian released Elara and walked over to him. Stand up. Toby stood, terrified. Your sister almost died because of your stupidity, because you can't stop making bad choices. I know, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, but I'm going to give you one chance. One, I'm putting you to work. Construction, legitimate work. You're going to show up every day. You're going to earn honest money. And if you screw this up, if you gamble again, if you get involved in anything illegal, I won't save you a second time. Understand? Toby nodded frantically. Yes, yes, sir, thank you. Thank your sister. She's the only reason you're breathing. Damian turned back to Elara. She was pale, shaking. The adrenaline was wearing off and shock was setting in. We need to get you to a hospital, Damian said. I'm not hurt. You're in shock, you need to be checked. I'm fine, I just want to go home. But as she took a step, her legs buckled. Damian caught her, lifted her into his arms. Hospital, now. She didn't argue, couldn't. The world was spinning. Everything that had happened crashed down on her at once. Sylvia's words, the kidnapping, the gun to her head. She started crying, not gentle tears, sobbing, breaking. Damian carried her to his SUV. Lucas drove. The hospital was 10 minutes away. In the emergency room, they checked her vitals. Blood pressure high, heart rate elevated, mild shock. They wanted to keep her overnight for observation. Damian stayed. He sat in the chair next to her bed and held her hand. You should go, Elara said quietly. No. Damian, I can't do this. Your world is too violent, too dangerous. I watch people get shot tonight. I had a gun to my head. This is what being with you means. I can't survive this. I know. So you understand. You understand why I have to walk away. I understand why you're scared. I understand why you think leaving is the answer, but I'm not going anywhere. You have to. I'm asking you to leave, please. Damian stood, but he didn't walk to the door. He walked to the window, looked out at the city. When I was 9 years old, my mother left. She walked out without saying goodbye. I spent years wondering what I did wrong, what made me unlovable, unworthy of staying for. I built walls. I became hard, dangerous. I told myself I didn't need anyone. He turned to face her. Then I met you, and for the first time in 20 years, those walls came down. You saw the worst of my world tonight, the violence, the blood, the danger. You have every right to walk away. But I'm not leaving. I'm not my mother. I don't abandon people I love. Elara's eyes widened. What did you say? I love you, I'm in love with you, and I will sit in this hospital room for as long as it takes. I'll sit in the hallway. I'll sleep in my car in the parking lot, but I'm not leaving you alone. Not when you're scared, not when you're hurt, not ever. Damian. Rest, we'll talk more tomorrow. He sat back down in the chair. Elara wanted to argue, but exhaustion pulled her under. She fell asleep with his hand wrapped around hers. The next morning, a nurse came in to check on her. Your boyfriend is very dedicated, she said. He's been here all night. Elara looked at the chair. It was empty. Where is he? In the hallway. We told him he needed to let you sleep. He's been sitting outside your door for hours. Elara's heart clenched. She got out of bed slowly, walked to the door, opened it. Damian sat on the floor, his back against the wall, eyes closed. His suit was wrinkled. He looked exhausted. You slept in the hallway. His eyes opened. You told me to leave. I left the room. didn't say I had to leave the hospital. You're impossible. You keep saying that. She sat down next to him on the floor. Her hospital gown was thin, but she didn't care. Your mother came to see me at the gala after you and I danced. Damian tensed. What did she say? She said you only love broken things, that you'll fix me and then get bored and leave, that I'm just a project to you. And you believed her. I don't know, maybe, part of me, the scared part. Damian turned to look at her. My mother is poison. She walked away from me because she was selfish. She came back because she wanted money. When I said no, she went after you to hurt me. Nothing she said was true. How do I know that? Because I'm sitting on a hospital floor at 6 in the morning when I could be anywhere else. Because I cancelled your brother's debt before I knew if you'd ever see me again. Because I look at your scars and I see strength, not damage. I don't want to fix you, Elara. You're not broken. You survived. That's different. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm still scared. I know, but I'm not going anywhere. They sat in silence for a while. Then Elara said, what about Victor? What about him? Are you going to kill him? Damian was quiet. Do you want me to? No, I want you to handle it in a way that doesn't create more violence. Can you do that? For you, yes. Over the next 2 weeks, Damian dismantled Victor's operation without firing another shot. He used his legitimate business connections, called in favors with politicians and police, froze bank accounts, shut down supply lines. By the end of the month, Victor's organization was bankrupt and scattered. Victor himself was arrested on weapons charges. Clean, legal, no bloodshed. Elara heard about it from Lucas, who stopped by her apartment with flowers. He did this for you, Lucas said. The old Damian would have burned Victor's empire down and left bodies in the street, but you changed him. I didn't ask him to change. You didn't have to. That's how love works. Elara found Damian at his small apartment, the real one. He was cooking again, pasta. You're here, he said, surprised. I'm here. Why? Because I love you too, and I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of letting fear control my life. The fire taught me that life is short, that you can lose everything in seconds. So if I'm going to be with someone, it should be someone who looks at my scars and doesn't flinch. Someone who sits in hospital hallways. Someone who changes the way he does business because I asked him to. Damian set down the spoon. Are you sure? No, I'm terrified, but I'm choosing you anyway. He crossed the room and kissed her, deep, sure, like a promise. They ate dinner together, talked about the future, about boundaries, about what she could accept and what she couldn't. Damian promised to keep her separated from the worst parts of his business. She promised to trust him when things got difficult. Sylvia received a check for $50,000 and a one-way plane ticket to Europe. The note from Damian was short. This is the last time. Stay gone or I'll make sure you do. She took the money and disappeared. Damian never heard from her again. Toby showed up to work every day. Construction, hard labor, honest pay. He hated it at first, but slowly he found pride in the work, in earning something real. 3 months later, Elara took Damian somewhere she'd never shown anyone, a small studio in the arts district. She'd been renting it for years. This is where I paint, she said. The walls were covered in canvases, beautiful, haunting images, fire turning into flowers, scars becoming wings, darkness transforming into light. This is your journey, Damian said, looking at the paintings. Yes, from trauma to healing, it's not linear. Some days are harder than others, but I'm getting there. These are incredible. I want to show them, have an exhibition. I've been too scared, but maybe it's time. I'll be there, front row, every time. 6 months after that, on a private beach Damian rented for the weekend, they walked along the shore. Elara wore a simple swimsuit. Her scars were visible in the bright sunlight. She used to hide them, cover them, be ashamed. Now she walked tall. I have a question, Damian said. Okay. What are we doing? Walking on a beach. No, I mean us. What are we? Where is this going? Elara stopped, looked at him. What do you want us to be? Everything. I want you to move into the penthouse, or the apartment, or we buy a new place, whatever you want. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to build a life that's ours, not mine, not yours, ours. That sounds like commitment. It is commitment. I'm all in, have been since the first night, when you showed me your scars and I realized I'd never met anyone braver. Elara smiled. I'm all in too. Yes. Yeah, but we do this our way. We choose each other every day, not because we have to, because we want to. Deal. Deal. They sat in the sand and watched the waves. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink and gold. Damian held her scarred hand, traced the twisted skin gently. Does it still hurt? He asked. Sometimes, phantom pain, but less than it used to. Good. What about you? Does your scar still hurt? Which one? The one from your mother, the emotional one. Damian considered. Less than it used to. Good. The water rushed up to their feet, cold, refreshing, real. Elara leaned into Damian's shoulder. Thank you for not going anywhere. Thank you for letting me stay. They sat there until the stars came out, until the beach was empty and the world was quiet. Two people who'd survived different kinds of fire, finding peace in each other, finding home in the chaos. And for the first time in both their lives, the silence wasn't lonely. It was full, complete, enough. The city would keep turning, business would continue, danger would always exist in the shadows. But here, on this beach, with the tide coming in and the stars watching, they were just two people in love, choosing each other every single day. That was enough. That was everything. Thank you for watching. Would you stay with someone whose world is filled with danger? Could true love survive between light and darkness? Comment below where you're watching from and what you'd do in Elara's position. Don't forget to subscribe for more intense stories. See you next time.